you can cast a ballot, or 2 or 3. You listen to the rulers, but who's counting? So let's do our duty. Please rise and all with salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I'm going to ask our Executive Vice President, Mayor Newberger, Lori, to introduce the guest.
Lots of guests today. It's great to see you all. We have Howie Zimmerman from Property Appraiser's Office, along with Mike Pratt from the Property Appraiser's Office.
Oh, boy.
Great. Diana Johnson from Sharon Box, that's the clerk and comptroller. Yes. And we have Karen Foster from Representative Schlossberg's office, and Kathleen Rowe from Representative Rader, and Gladys Ferrer from Senator Maria Sachs, Megan White from Mayor Berger's office. And remember, we explained that there's going to be 2 judge positions on the ballot for this election, because in August, this is a runoff from the August event. So we have 2 people here who've been coming for several months and seeing us. Gregory Tendrich, he's candidate for Circuit Court Judge, and Dana Santino, she's candidate for County Court Judge. Andrea DeFonte from the Palm Beach County Tax Collector's Office in Gannon. And then Anthony Terzo and Deb Selecchia from AMR, Linda Posnack from the Kings Point. Oh, how'd you get in there, right? Sarah also from GL Homes, and we have Judge Jamie Goodman here. Kelly Berg from Aid for Melissa McKinley's office. Really great to see you today. Freddie Scott from Commissioner Abrams' office. And Mort Mazer, he was on our board for many years, and he's from Forum Publishing, and he gets our articles into the newspaper. So welcome, Mort Mazer. We have Delray Beach Fire Rescue here. So we have our city represented by Joe Duffy. Great to see you. And we'll be seeing the Delray Beach Fire Chief come here soon too, one of these days. And we have from the legislative delegation, Christine Shaw. Where is Christine? Great, Christine. And our Rebecca De La Rosa, our speaker. Will she be coming? I'm so happy to see that's our speaker, and I was getting a little worried here. You know. Terrific, we have our speaker here. I'm so calm now. You didn't notice I was nervous, did you? Okay, we have Swinda Ferrer and Wendy Victoria from Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. And Karen Brill from the Palm Beach County School Board, District 3. And we have Tony Keeler from the firefighters from Palm Beach County Fire Rescue and the firefighters of Palm Beach County. So now President Bob will be introducing some of our speakers that will give us some updates. Here you go.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Lori. As usual, we'll put the chief and the captain on first because they got to go about their business. So we'll call on Captain G. Bertino, please, from our district here. He's the man.
Morning, everybody. Can you hear me? All right. Hey, the same old stuff with the crime. We're consistent. Okay, it's not up, it's not down. It's literally, we have 1 less vehicle burglary this year than we did last year at this point. Things are going to start picking up though. Now people are moving back into town. The roads are going to start picking up. We all know how that goes. The hurricane, we had a nice little dry run there. Everybody did a great job though, thank you. We were very well prepared. I know as a district, we learned a lot. We were ready, and if and when we get one, we'll be ready to help you out there. okay? But knock on wood, it looks like we're gonna be safe this year, all right? Holidays are coming up. That means crime will go up because target opportunity goes up. So I will be sending out a letter like I did last year. Please read it. I know Bob and Lori will get it out for me. It'll have all sorts of crime tips on when you're shopping, how to keep your car, you know, what you're supposed to keep in your car, what not. The big thing is, if you don't have to, don't do anything alone. My deputy is going to be out there. We will be out in full force. We'll have more than usual out there, but you know we can't be everywhere. So I don't want to see anybody putting themselves at risk when you don't have to. So the big thing is when you go shopping, just don't do it by yourself. You don't have to. Don't do it in the dark, anything like that. But I'll point all that out in detail for you. All right. The last thing I want to talk about today, real quick, 2 police officers were shot sitting in their car in Iowa. Okay, this is going on all over the place. I just want to say, I thank God every day that my deputies and I get to work in this community where we have people like you to work with us, help take care of us, and it's just easy to work with you guys, and I appreciate that. And I promise you, as long as I'm here, we'll keep it that way, all right? But please keep those police officers in your prayers, because there ain't much you can do about it when you're just sitting in your car and you get ambushed and attacked, all right? So thank you for everything, and see you next month.
I have a question for you, Captain. People see something they think that doesn't look right. How do they call for 911 or is there a number they call for somebody to show up and take a look at it? How do they go about it? It's important now. If they don't know who to contact, they'll probably just pass it by. Okay.
But here's the answer for that. If you see something out of place, all right, you're not bothering us, we encourage you to call. Now, if it's something going on and you say, well, somebody's getting victimized right now, that's 911. You see somebody going through someone's car, breaking into a house, actively committing a crime, you're pretty sure it's a crime, once you call 911. If it's just something out of place, okay, something strange, something doesn't belong, 688-3400. It's 688-3400. And we've passed out some cards in the past, the numbers on our website. Yeah, any package, anything suspicious whatsoever, okay?
Send it to us, we'll put it out in the newsletter.
And yeah, I'll send it out, and listen, like I said, please do not hesitate, okay? Yes, we're busy, all right, but we're never too busy to be safe and cut something off before it happens. That's what we want to do. In our district, we try to be proactive just as much as we are reactive. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. You know, if you see something that just doesn't look right in this day and age, and you feel uncomfortable about it, I ask you to report it, because you never know when it's the real thing. They're out there all day, and they don't mind making a call if they just to take a look at it. So keep that in mind. It's important. Okay, our Chief Doug McGlynn. Amen.
You guys are the best. I just come here just so I can feel good and get affirmed and stuff like that. So I really appreciate it. And I didn't even come for the bagels. I just come for the smiles and come for all you guys. Real quick, just to kind of piggyback on that, the safety of the community and the work that Sheriff Bradshaw and PBSO does, it's just amazing, because for a community to thrive and for us to do what we do, it has to be a safe community first. So really, the work that they do, sometimes it goes unmissed, it goes missed, and sometimes we take that for granted. The work that they do so that fire rescue can get into areas and stuff like that. So we really appreciate everything that you guys do. Just another little round of applause for these guys. A couple of exciting things that are going on at Fire Rescue. We just moved into our new Fire Battalion headquarters, which is right here at Atlantic and Hagen. We have beautiful new facilities. We're going to be hosting some events there as well. Our new community room is open for service, and we're really looking forward to our next meeting here at the Alliance. We'll just plant a little teaser. But we're going to be doing something very special with President Bob and Dr. Lori to bring the Alliance a really fantastic meeting next month. The dry run with the hurricane, it really was a dry run. It was my new position. We upstaffed our command staff, and we learned a lot about our command staff, all our positions, and we really feel very affirmed that we are prepared for the next time an emergency comes along. I actually received a lot of questions, so I really just want to focus on two things when in regards to the hurricane. I know people are thinking about hurricane because it's out of sight, out of mind. We got elections on the brain, but I'm just going to tell you two things. One is Palm Beach County Fire Rescue moved to a VoIP, a voice over internet protocol. It's a phone that's an internet phone. We don't really have the hard lines anymore. We realized that we need a redundancy because when the internet goes out, our phone communications can go out. Now we have radios and ham radios and a lot of other redundancies, but for you folks at home that have the internet phone, you might want to consider having a backup or a level of redundancy. For instance, if you have a router to pick up the Wi-Fi signal so that your internet signal is intact, so that you can make a 911 phone call, if the power goes out and you don't have your router on a battery backup, then the power goes out, your phone goes out. So just one little thing to consider. We kind of learned, we have battery backups and stuff, but I thought that was an important message for you all, and I know a lot of the community is moving over to an internet phone system. The second thing is, as far as the hurricane preparations, we realize the flood potential here in the Kings Point and down the Atlantic area. We developed an incident action plan that's a 9-page document so that we can better provide the care rather than react to it. We're being very proactive with the plan, and we're also using that as a template for when we get large crowds at Murakami for the lantern lighting and stuff like that. So we're really affirming, we're really shoring up the incident command protocol so that we're better prepared. And then the last thing, a lot of questions, but the last thing I want to talk about is when the winds are high, we have certain parameters where we no longer go on a 911 call without checking with the staff to see what the wind conditions are at that station. It's called a go, no-go. Okay? A go, no-go. So if the dispatch center gets a 911 call, it comes to our battalion headquarters, I look out the window, it looks good, so I check with station 45 if that's where the call is. 45 has a look, if they say we're a go, even if the conditions are bad, they'll go on a call based on the priority. Structure fire, cardiac arrest, car in the canal, those types of calls. We did not go under a go, no-go during Hurricane Matthew. A few palm fronds fell down in the parking lot. But there was a few questions that people brought to me, even this morning as I arrived here at the meeting, about fire rescue not going to certain calls and stuff. We have a very strict protocol when it comes to that. We did not go under the go, no-go. But even when we are, we will go into dangerous situations if the call is of a high priority. It's called priority dispatch. So I just wanted to share a couple of things like that with you. The exciting thing is that this, actually tomorrow, we're graduating 31 new firefighters coming in, and we're getting 4 of them right here at Battalion 1. So, pleasure to serve you. Good luck on the elections, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Doug is never at a loss for words. It's a pleasure to have him as speaker. He gets right into it. I wish I was young like him. Okay. At last, we have our one and only Mary Lou Berger, Commissioner Mary Lou Berger. Come on, Commissioner. No running around.
Thank you, Bob. Give him help. And it's nice to see you here this morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Oh, my goodness. How many have voted? Yay. Oh, my gosh. How many have not voted? How many voted for me? Okay, thank you. If you haven't been to the polls yet, I have a little card I'll give to you. But anyway, so I think that's on the minds of everybody. We're very short on time. If you have friends that have not voted, people in your community, I have not voted yet. I always vote on Election Day in Kings Point. I like to be there. I like to walk around the people. I like to do a little rah-rah, and can of course talk about myself there. So I have not, but I will be in Kings Point, extremely visible on Election Day. And it is an important election, so please urge your friends, your neighbors, and your family, anybody that has not gone out. It's an important election, not just because it's me. The sales tax is important to our schools and to the county, and we need that vote. So I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I certainly enjoyed watching everybody eat breakfast on their lap this morning. But I know that everybody understands that, you know, right behind us, people are exercising their right to vote, which is a good thing. Also, I will not see you before Thanksgiving, so I wish you all a very, very happy Thanksgiving, whether you're here, whether you're with your families, whether with your friends. I hope you have a good, and we have so much to be thankful for this year. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's always a pleasure. Okay, I'm going to call on, oh, the commercial, yes. I'm going to call on our breakfast bunch this morning. Her name is Surprise, Donna Hoover. Where are you, Donna?
I'm right here.
There's you, Donna. I think everybody in the room should have some idea who Hoover Pump is. They're the most valuable thing we have here for our sprinkler systems and everything else, and Donna's going to give you a brief review here. There you go, Donna.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here
No,
today.
you got to talk this way.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't use microphones because I usually have a big mouth. They don't need me to use a mic at most of the things I go to. But it's great to see you here. The good work that you do is amazing for the organization of HOAs and communities here in this beautiful South Florida where we all live. One of the things about my company is that we build irrigation pump systems, which sound like this machine that sits in the bushes and does its job for years and years in a row, and that is true. The last few years in our business, which is now 30 years old, the first Hoover pump system was installed in 1980 when my husband, who was an irrigation contractor and an engineer that did not want to wear a tie, he created a pump system that would protect the irrigation system. And for 30 years, our small team has continued to provide innovations and features that keep these pump systems operating for many years and protect the irrigation equipment that is so expensive to replace. You'll notice that you've got one in your community if you're using lake, well, whatever. It's very hard to know when the thing's getting ready to die. In the last 5 years, we have replaced over 100 existing old pump systems here in South Florida. And right now we're building 10, which will go out before the end of the year. Our normal volume for a year is 100. So that means a good 20 to 30% of our business is old equipment, which probably exists in a lot of your communities. If you notice, I left a booklet here for you. I'm not going to get into it now. But if you're interested in knowing more, please call me or call Nathan, my service manager. We will give you the tools to know when, not too early, and how to determine if your pump system is old enough to consider being replaced either now or planning for the future. This is a big capital investment. It should be in your capital reserves. And I know all of you do the reserves that you should do. And if you track your expenses and watch them for just not the pump system, but the irrigation system and landscape management, you will be prepared to keep up the good work with your irrigation system so that your curb appeal will attract all the baby boomers who are moving here. We have 1,000 a day moving to the state of Florida. Many of them are coming here right now. And this is why we're replacing one after another of the older pump systems that are now costing you way too much to operate. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I can't wait for this election to be over.
Okay, thank you much, Donna. And now I'll call on Lori to get to the main part of our meeting. Lori?
We noticed a few other important people entered the room after we had already announced our guests. Robert Nelton from Palm Beach County Water Utility Department. Laura Corey from South Florida Water Management District. And we have Emily Schlossberg, who is candidate, she's on the ballot, and she is for a representative of our area. So great to see you, Emily. Did everybody receive their flyer in the mail along with the meeting announcement this month? And in there you'll notice that there is the condominium and homeowner association board certification course that we're going to be offering. And the contact number in there, it's my number and my email. You can write to me to have a reservation for that. So we have important announcements in that. And for next month, this is the one that's going to be going out next month. And as Chief Doug said, it's going to be terrific with the firefighters and all. And we're going to have special presentation of colors. We're going to have some music. And also, because you know we're celebrating our 20th anniversary year this year, we have some special programs throughout the year. And this is going to be special because Dr. Robert Watson, professor of the American Studies from Lynn University, he's going to be speaking on the history of Pearl Harbor and the veterans. So that's going to be a very exciting meeting next month. Just one other thing about our new assistants to the president. You had met Annie last month, and she's taking care of membership. We have 3 other ones here this month. And as you know, I announced John Gentithes last month, and Joel Mincore, wonder who he's related to, right? And Paul Finkelstein, can you raise your hand there? Can you stand up for a minute? And he is the reason why we've now reached more than 92,000 hits a month on our website. He is our Facebook, Twitter, and social media guru. So lots of great things are coming here from the Alliance. We don't have the Nostalgic America magazine this month, but it's going to be coming out in just a few days, and the Alliance has a spread there with some really new and important articles. Now for our speaker. It's really important that we know, as members of Palm Beach County community here, residents, what our county is doing as far as legislative priorities that are going to help us and our associations. And this is a great time to do it, right, election time, and right before they come out with their slate and their agenda, what they're going to be having for the legislative delegation, what they're going to be bringing to Tallahassee. Rebecca De La Rosa is one of the newest members of the Palm Beach County government. Just a few months ago, she became the new Legislative Affairs Director. She brings with her 16 years of experience in the legislative and executive branches of government, where she developed knowledge in education, finance and tax, affordable housing, local governments, transportation, procurement, retirement, insurance, and health care. Really, she runs the gamut. She's lobbied in Tallahassee. She served as the legislative director for Florida Housing Finance Corporation in Miami. She has been an analyst and aide roles with the Speaker of the Florida House of Representatives. And she has a list of awards, which is very long. And she now serves on the National Foundation for Women Legislators Legislative Board. They couldn't have had a more perfect choice for the new Legislative Affairs Director of Palm Beach County. Please help me welcome Rebecca De La Rosa.
Thank you, everyone. I greatly appreciate you all coming.
You can put a mic on it.
Again, thank you, everyone, for welcoming me today
You gotta
and
hold
for
the
the
mic this way.
invitation.
Gotta hold the mic this way. This way.
Yes, all right. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. All right, great, thank you. Again, thank you for inviting me today to speak in front of this very prestigious group. Each one of you, I feel like I know already through Lori and Bob. And so Lori, Bob, thank you so much for the invitation today. I greatly appreciate it. They were 2 of the first constituents in Palm Beach County that I met, actually in Senator Abruzzo's office. So thank you for representing and being here today, Ben. Thank you. In addition to myself as legislative director, I also have Chris Pettit. I don't know if he was able, there you go, Chris Pettit, who helps contribute with his background and knowledge on water utilities and his experience is unprecedented when we get up to Tallahassee and we need to deliberate information on a more simpler level when it comes to our water issues here in Palm Beach County. So in addition, we also have Christine Shaw, who is our new delegation director, and she's here in the back. Lori had announced her earlier, and she is helping the legislative office work closely with all of our legislators here in the delegation. We will have potentially 5 new legislators moving around between the House and the Senate. And as far as commissioners go, we may have 2 new commissioners. So I think that in the next coming meetings, you will probably have plenty to talk about and plenty to present in front of new folks that will be representing the area. And I'm often asked with my background, and thank you, Lori, for introducing me, and Mayor Berger, thank you for welcoming me, and with a warm welcome to Palm Beach County originally. And with the background and full knowledge of Todd Bunlar, the great Todd Bunlar, and I am simply continuing on that legacy for him. So please know that if there was any contact you had with our office, that will still continue, and please do not hesitate to call my cell number as well. I only have one, and the cell number is on my card, and I'm sure Lori will make sure that you get my contact information. But again, I'm often asked why I moved out of the private sector to move into the public sector and represent Palm Beach County. And I think that the real answer is that when I was an aide and I was representing my own community in Clearwater, Florida, I knew what that meant. But I wanted to do that on a bigger scale. And so thankfully, I'm going to have the chance to represent all of you on a local, state, and federal level. And so thus far, our office has met with all of the divisions throughout the county, as well as several nonprofits, and had the opportunity to attend the nonprofit chamber. So the nonprofit chamber came up with their priorities, I believe it was a week ago today, or a week ago Friday. And I look forward to working closely with them when we get to Tallahassee, as well as each one of you and Lori and Bob when I get to Tallahassee, especially in DC if there's any other federal issues as well, because I understand that transportation is an issue that you would like to cover as well. So when it comes to some of the highlights that I have been hearing about during my meetings, really it has been, everything has centered around housing. And when I say housing, I mean from homeless to affordable housing, to workforce housing, to how do we deal with the mental health and substance abuse issues in our community. Thankfully, Congresswoman Lois Frankel has been in close contact with me on the opiate issue, as well as sober homes. So I understand sober homes are also an issue that is important to Delray. And so we will continue to monitor the activities and the communications between HUD and Department of Juvenile Justice for the creation of the joint statement. We're waiting for a sign-off from DOJ, hopefully before the end of the month. We wouldn't want it to lead into the next year. The department, or the agency rather, is looking to prioritize each one of their sign-offs. So you can imagine that there's a couple other items that they're looking at before the election kicks off. So having said that, we've also moved into tourism. Tourism seems to be one of the top priorities that folks are focused on, and that really bleeds into Chris Pettit's area when we start talking about sand and how we deal with beach erosion, etc. And so we want to make sure and keep up with what is important to not only our visitors, but our constituents and to all of you when you're here visiting with your families and spending time on the water. I think that we are blessed with the opportunity to have Scripps and Mox Plonk in this community, and we will also be supporting their efforts in biomedical research. And if there's any concerns you have regarding some of the priorities for us moving forward, please don't hesitate to reach out to my office. So I've discussed a lot about research and housing and in our communities. There's also an area that I think that it's important to mention always when I'm speaking, and that is the West. And we're talking about the Glades and how important it is that we stay connected with that community as well and help them out as much as we possibly can. So we'll still continue to forge forward with Commissioner McKinley's efforts for Pahokee and the Glades, as well as Senator Abruzzo as he moves into his House seat. So thank you, and I hope that you come to me with any issues that you might have regarding legislative priorities. And I did have a timeline here for you to really keep in mind, and that is that on November 8th, of course, we'll have the election, and then we'll have potentially 2 new commissioners, as I had mentioned. And then in addition to that, their best case scenario for incumbents, we'll have retaining seats and we'll have 5 new members. So please, if you have any questions regarding the delegation, don't hesitate to reach out to Christine Shaw or myself, and we can provide additional information. November 10th, we're going to have the first delegation public meeting. I welcome each one of you to come and attend, and again, if you would like additional information, that will be on our website, which is Legislative Affairs, and also you can call Christine and myself. At the November 10th delegation public hearing, we will also discuss the election of the chair and the vice chair. The outgoing chair would be Representative Magar, and the incoming chair would be Bobby Powell. On November 22nd, we'll have organizational sessions, so myself and Christine will travel up to Tallahassee and meet with our members, our delegation in Tallahassee, as well as others and leadership. So we'll be able to bring back some information for you after that brief stint in Tallahassee. Soon after, we will present the final draft of the state agenda on November 29th. So I'm really excited about what we have been able to add. Not only issues regarding our homeless college students, which seems to be an issue that has risen up to not only myself, but to many of the commissioners, as well as homeless veterans. So that certainly will be a priority. However, all homelessness is, we need to put attention on all homelessness. And I have been able to bring together economic sustainability and the homeless division under Human Services together so we can all be on the same page when it comes to housing. In addition to that, we'll also have the delegation meeting following the board finalization of the state agenda on the same day. And if you have any questions for us on that particular meeting, or if you would like to speak, Lori, Bob, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and we can have the proper forms sent to your way. As far as your advocacy, I have never seen a group so enthusiastic, and especially with the leadership of Lori and Bob coming with issues that are important to you, your streets, your roads, your communities, water flow. Those are all issues that you certainly can continue to reach out to us on how that is moving forward. And Lori, I know, has been in great contact with me, so I look forward to staying in touch, especially during the legislative session, with any potential changes that you might hear in the papers that might be harmful. Again, Lori will provide my contact information, and as far as the state final agenda, we'll also provide that to Lori and Bob to be disseminated to your group so you have a better detail as to what has been approved by the Board of Commissioners. And I just want to end by continuing to encourage you to continue your follow-up with our delegation members on issues that are important to you in your community. And I think that that's really the best advice I can give when it comes to advocacy in Tallahassee and communicating with your members, and also with leadership. And so if you have a question as to whom in leadership you feel like you need to reach out to, we are happy to do that.
That's great, thank you very much for this, but we're not going to let you go so soon. Well, I'm sure people have questions, but we'll, if I can start out with a couple of questions to just clarify a few things. You talked about the joint statement, and we've discussed this with Congresswoman Frankel, that she's working on this joint statement. And although we may not have all of the wording of it, but we're very concerned about sober homes, whether they're in our communities or whether we read about it every day in the front page of the newspaper, something about sober homes. Can you explain what the joint statement is and how that can affect us and help the communities?
Certainly. The joint statement will simply join forces with the Department of HUD and Department of Juvenile Justice to ensure that the team is saying, moving forward, this is a priority to us, and that we will research what is occurring nationwide. Because this issue is not just in the state of Florida, it has had expanded to California. In fact, Todd Bonlar and myself have been in communications with Orange County. They have a great concern, but nobody seems to have any answers. But the joint statement will give us the go-ahead to continue to move forward with changing of our original priority, and that was to change the zoning.
Great. We were told that there was a joint statement years ago, and this is a new one. It's going to be clarifying more and helping the municipalities assist them in regulating, a little bit more regulation, having sober homes. Anything about pari-mutuel gambling or anything on the horizon for this year?
Well, that's an exciting topic for everybody to discuss, always, but it really is up to the environment in Tallahassee and what they're feeling they can pursue. I have not heard that anything will move forward with gaming, but if there is a committee, I will be in attendance and we will be there supporting our pari-mutuel concerns so it does not harmfully affect the kennel as well as any other efforts in Palm Beach County.
Great. And just one other thing before we go to questions from the audience about our seniors, anything on the horizon for that to help us, to assist us in the form of any medical legislation, any ideas on that?
Yes, that is a great question, and in fact, we met with Area on Aging. Jaime is a phenomenal advocate for the group and for the agency, and I learned a little bit more about 211 and the line that is used here in the area, not only for the elderly, but for anyone, any senior. We have recently spoken to the legislative priorities of the association that represents all of the area on agencies. There's two requests, and both of them are centered around Medicaid. So I'm really grateful that Mayor Berger has been interested in supporting those particular items to not only support her community, but the constituency as a whole. And that may be something that we move forward with.
We'll take questions now. John will come around with the microphone. If anybody has any questions, raise your hand.
Any questions? One over here.
Does anyone know why we have the most sober homes in Delray?
In the small amount of time that I have been here, it would seem as if our Gulf Shores and our communities, our weather, is an attraction for folks who live in northern states to come down and have a safe place to stay. If you were to go out online, oftentimes you will see advertisements that look extremely luxurious and peaceful and resort-like. So there could be a misconception as to what they may experience once they arrive. So I think that there's a pull in from the websites attracting people to Florida because we are the Sunshine State. We are a vacation spot for many.
Yes, I have a question. What is a typical day in Tallahassee like?
That's a great question. Well, we usually kick off our day going over the calendar for the week because you need to be in tune with the committees that are touching all of your issues. And that's when we meet regularly with our contract lobbyists as well as our delegation members and staff to go over what it is that we'll be tackling together. And there is constant follow-up with each office to ensure that everyone is on the same page. In addition to that, we're setting up meetings right now to meet with leadership and those whom are interested on certain committees that touch the issues that we're interested in. So we'll continue to move forward with our meetings with the appropriate committees, the appropriate leadership in the House and the Senate, and as well as the governor's office.
Thank you.
Sure.
Could you tell us a little more about 211? I'm not familiar with that, and our community might want to know.
Oh, okay. 211?
Yeah, they want to know about it.
Yeah. 211 is a hotline that is an alternative for folks to call on any concern you may have. Whether or not it helps out with the non-emergency calls that would be going into our fire rescue or 911. So if you needed help with a friend who wasn't sure about a certain diagnosis, is there an organization out there that can help inform me? They can certainly direct you in that manner. But they also handle more extreme calls when it comes to a child who may have been abused. They instantly react, and someone is in contact with that family immediately, and there's constant follow-up. It is an amazing program, and I hope that our legislature, and we'll see that when we come to Tallahassee and express how important it is for our community to still have that function.
The paperwork or, okay.
Yes, I can get, I'll get the follow-up paperwork on 211 to Lori. Another change that we actually made was I am often called at my office for random questions because sometimes people are just unable to determine what division really handles an issue. And because I started to receive those calls, I have asked Public Affairs to change the guide of directory with all of our contact information in it to have a seniors page only. And so 211 line will be on that page, as well as additional contact information that I believe will be helpful. Also, the tax collector's office, for example, so you can have a research point for handicap stickers. Simple items like that, but all on one page.
I don't see any other questions, but just one thing about the, if I could have that. That's okay. First of all, as far as those numbers go in that special senior page, we can give you some suggestions for that too, especially maybe you didn't have the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office see something, or if there's a problem, say something. That would be really good to have on there too, because as seniors and community leaders, they're really in tune to that, and they can see when something's just not right. So it'd be good to have a good number on there. One thing, we have workforce housing. Okay, this issue in Palm Beach County where we need help. This is a county that there's a lot of services that we have that attend to us every day, and we need the workforce housing here. Can you please explain the difference so people understand the difference between workforce housing and affordable housing and low-income housing? Explain the difference between it. I know there's a big push for workforce housing, and it's not low income, but it's workforce in order to get the people who work here to have the jobs. So please explain the difference between the three. Thank you.
Sure. When it comes to extremely low income, that is 30% of your area median income and below. And then upward of 30% is your affordable housing, which includes workforce housing. When it comes to workforce housing, there is a program that is specifically created because I lobbied for it, passed it. It exists in the books, but it hasn't been funded for several years. So it might be attractive to other organizations to get involved and to see perhaps why that program hasn't been funded and if it is an option for the efforts for this community. I understand through our service industry that it's difficult for them to come in seasonally and have a place to stay. I actually was speaking with Disney and also with the Breakers on how they handle their employment situation when it comes to this area in Orlando. They actually build their own housing. They have their own housing. So they have addressed a situation for their service industry that is by far one of the best services you can really provide for somebody who's hardworking and taking on responsibilities for others that wouldn't normally take on those jobs. So when it comes to workforce housing, it is an important issue not only to the tourism industry, but to our sports facilities, especially our ballparks that will be developed. And I understand that opening day will be February 28th, so if that's something you're interested in. But it's the service workers that we depend on to work with us and be valid community leaders in our community and to contribute. We should be finding areas for them to live in where they're not traveling out or bussed out.
That is a terrific concept. How the Breakers have some housing for their workers. We have another example of that, and that is Sunshine Meadows, right in Delray Beach. And they bring horses in, and there is some ability for people to stay there. There's residences there for the winter months, and that's really good. And I actually haven't seen in the county code or in planning anything. Maybe the commissioners could think about this, and the planning and zoning and building department can think about this. Something about having this companies that are larger. There's some very large, for example, we have huge First Scripts, for example, or Delray Medical Center has a huge number of employees, so many people, but it would be interesting if we can have these companies, these large corporations possibly have some housing and give them some credit or do something to get workforce housing within those large areas. Maybe Publix, they've got a lot of stores, maybe we can do something with that. It's an interesting concept, but it's nice to see that there is that model from the Breakers and Disney.
I think it'll be nice to hear a little bit more from the experts who have made it happen for their employees. And then in addition to that, we need to focus a little bit more on our teachers. So I understand through the superintendent's efforts that he would really like to support affordable housing as well, because he understands the growth that's going to occur in this area and the teachers that will be needed. But if he cannot recruit and he cannot bring teachers in, he's going to be in a tough situation.
Are there any other questions? Oh, we have one back there. Where's my yes.
Is that for part-timers that work? So in other words, they go back to wherever they came from. Let's say Disney. They only work for the season.
Maybe everybody didn't hear you. Just repeat it.
I want to know how that affects people that work seasonal. Okay, they work in Disneyland after the thing. Where do they go? They go back to where they came from? Will they hang around? Will they still stay in the housing even though they're not working?
Most often they're working year-round because they have that flexibility to live here. It's really the monies that they're contributing to their families that live elsewhere. So they're hoping to have more of their family members come in and introduce them to the area, but that will be upon their own discretion. But as far as the breakers, they really focus on having their folks there year-round. You know, they have to budget to make that happen.
Okay, do we have any more questions? If not, we want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was very good to do this information. And we appreciate it. Just remember, the next meeting is going to be a big meeting, and so we look forward to it. Keep your eye on our webpage and on our email network to all receive, and go home and tell your friends who didn't vote to get out. Okay. It's important. The future of the country basically is hanging on this election. So thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next month.